And so you're talking about taking your squat from like a 550 to a 600. How does somebody at your level go about still making a 50-pound gain? Not that you've made it yet, but I believe that given like your determination and everything, you'll probably get there. How do you go about that at your stage?
So it's programming, good programming, which I've only recently learned about. So had I been doing since I've been working with Austin, I was doing for the past 15 years what I've been doing for the last 2, I'm certain I would be way further ahead.
Yeah.
But within those 15 years, there was a lot of, obviously ups and downs. Some goals changed. Some periods of on and off. Didn't train for a couple of years outside. When I got out of high school. But anyways, that's a good question, and it's probably way beyond the scope of this podcast to discuss programming.
Yeah.
But it's doing a little bit more than I'm currently doing, which is kind of like on the topic of adding more volume, increasing work capacity so that I can handle more training. So it's, if you want to take a look at my current programming, it's squatting 3 times a week, deadlifting twice a week, benching 4 times a week, and then pressing once, maybe twice within that. And so, yeah, it's hard to say like what exactly needs to be done. I can't say because I'm not even certain. Nobody is, right? It's a lot of like trial and error. Like we're gonna add some of this in. We're gonna increase this. We're gonna pull back on this and see how you respond. So that's why I do online programming, and I don't send 1 year of programming.
Right.
It's like weeks at a time to see how the client is responding. So there's not a straightforward answer. I could, once I squat 600, in hindsight, I could look back and say, I think this is what really helped me get there. But I think it's frequent exposure to submaximal singles, actually practicing what I'm trying to get better at, which is squatting singles if I want to squat 600. And then slowly accumulating a little bit more volume or exposing myself to a little bit more volume, do more kind of thing. So
yeah, I'm glad you brought up the weekly changes, because actually somebody who, I won't say their name, but somebody who just signed up to be trained by me, they said, well, can you just write me a 12-week program and just send it to me? I was like, no, I can't. Like, I can't tell you what I'm going to do even like 4 weeks from now, we have to adjust. And it's obviously even more so like at your stage where it's, everything needs to come together to make progress. So how are your joints and everything holding up with that high frequency on those lifts?
It's fine. It's
Really?
that's a pretty common question, or maybe even a misconception that, see, we can adapt to anything in the gym, right? Almost anything. And so just as your body adapts and you get stronger, you also adapt to more volume. I would never take someone who says, hey, I've just started lifting a couple months ago. I've been doing starting strength 3x5. I need your help. And then I say, all right, we're going to do 5 sets of 10, all at RP8, 3 times a week. That would be dumb because that's way too much volume for them.
Yeah.
But to say, hey, we're going to start doing 3 sets of 6. We're going to start doing 4 sets of 5. You're squatting twice a week. Let's, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to bump it up to 3 times a week. Right. So it's very slow increments to actually get them exposed to that, and you adapt to it. So, it's not that someone goes from doing 3 sets of 5 to doing 8 sets of 5, and that's going to help them. It's slowly exposing them to 4 sets of 5 and 5 sets of 5, right? More and more. When you look at like the very top end, like some of the best squatters in the world, weightlifters, not powerlifters, but when you look at weightlifters, some of the like actual Olympians, and you hear about them like squatting every day, twice a day. There's even like Max Aida made a podcast with, I forget what the name of the podcast was, but he said something like he squatted at his prime, he was squatting 26 times a week or something like that.
Wow.
And anyways, that's just a long period of like he needs more in order to get a return on what he's trying to do. Whereas if you're just starting out, you don't need that much to actually get better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
So
Yeah, and I
anyway,
think I don't know too much about right. I don't know too much about weightlifting, like the sport of weightlifting itself, but my understanding is for those guys at least, part of that is there's a weeding out process, and there's a lot of guys who can't handle that degree of it, and they just kind of fall off. And those coaches of those teams will look for the people who can just take the like constant abuse to their bodies to get to that high level, and obviously that's a genetic thing as well.
right? Yeah, that's the whole Bulgarian system.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm not at all suggesting that we need to squat 26 times a week.
All right.
But in a way, what I'm trying to say is that we can like adapt to a little bit more. It's not that every single human can only do 5 sets of 5,
Right.
or every human can only squat once a week. And like you said, there's definitely a genetic component to how much work you can actually handle. But just like we can get stronger and adapt to training, our work capacity can increase as well, and we can get used to that volume. Your joints, your tendons can get used to all that volume.
Right.
As long as the dosage is appropriately, put into your programs.